Well, welcome back to my channel. Have to wear this scarf because it's just so bloody cold, even with this thing going up here, even with the fan heater on just over there, oh my god. Uh, anyway, so we've had the latest installment from that sick duo, Prince Harry and Her Royal Highness Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And they are whinge bags as usual, so self-pitying, feeling so sorry for themselves. Those people freezing to death in Ukraine, don't care about them. People living in abject penury in many countries around the world. People are terminally ill. No, 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 no. No sympathy for them. These two, oh, da-dums, my heart bleeds. Okay, Prince Harry, who was born into the House of Windsor. Meghan Markle was a volunteer member of it. She was already in the media spotlight. She craved attention as an actress. So you wanted attention, you got it. Be careful what you wish for. Anyway, so the real takeaway has been Prince Harry's claim that when they had some family meeting with Prince William to try and hammer out the future, it was terrifying because his brother William screamed and shouted at him. Now, did William actually scream and shout at him? I don't know. We've only got Harry's word for it. Now, obviously, Harry's a proven liar, but this one, I think, has the ring of truth. This one's a bit more plausible. I would have yelled at him too, wouldn't you? I mean, what he's been doing and washing all the family's dirty linen in public. Most families have rows from time to time. You want to keep that behind closed doors. It's extremely unhelpful to go and broadcast that to the world. And they're harping on and on and on about how they're supposedly so mistreated about the family and the media. Okay, you don't want the media to talk about you. Shut up. Get out of my face. I can't switch on the telly without seeing something about you. I cannot look at a newspaper front page without seeing you at the moment. So if you want to be left alone, leave us alone. You're making yourselves newsworthy. So they're always trying to have their cake and eat it and thinking that they should have total control of the media narrative. The media's got to be subservient to them, that every single journalist should only provide reportage and commentary on them, which is entirely laudatory. Anything remotely disobliging is outrageous, and it must be racist, no matter how despicable or deceitful their behaviour is. This is the latest instalment in their Netflix series, not really been bombshells. Anyway, Prince Harry said that ultimately he was the one who chose to do this, and they suggested they would half in and half out of royal family life at a meeting at Sandringham. This is about 3 years ago, when they decided to bow out of royal family life. Sandringham in Norfolk, that's one of the royal family's private estates where they tend to go to at Christmas. And then Prince Harry, he's then accusing his father, who's now King Charles, of lying, saying he said the things that simply weren't true, and that Her Majesty the Queen was present at this as well. Now, I mean, I don't know the content of the meeting. We only have Prince Harry's word for it. That might well be true. I think this is probably some of the more credible things he said. Even a pathological liar tells the truth occasionally. Can the devil speak true, as Shakespeare asked? Well, yes, he can, just sometimes. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Anyway, they said they suffered a lot of negative publicity. Yeah, well, I wonder why that is. Look at your own behaviour. The press are allowed to say what they want. The United Kingdom is a free country, so is the United States. And what the hell's going to Canada, California going to do about it? I mean, in case Harry hasn't heard, there's a thing called the internet, yeah? You can still be reported on, even if you're in the United States or Canada, or that there are planes. He's been on a few, when he could have gone by public transport, Eurostar to France to save the planet, because he's a planet crusader. So British journalists, they can go to California as well, and the US media can be bitchy as well. They're going to report about you as well. And admittedly, the US media, it tends to be kinder to them and actually just simply less interested because they're not such big news over there. Anyway, so the royal family were bad to him, and then Prince Harry made this extraordinary claims that they'll lie to protect my brother. They? Who exactly? Names. The non-specificity makes it less credible. And which exact lies did they tell to protect his brother, Prince William, from what? I mean, so it's really poisonous. What a backstabber to say this about his brother. Prince William, the only member of the royal family I knew slightly, who, so far as I can think, has hardly put a foot wrong. Not a bad guy, really. Scarcely anyone's got a bad word to say about him. Yeah? And I'm not someone who puts him on a pedestal. He's human, he's flawed, but, he's quite unobtrusive, really. Kate Middleton rather unobjectionable on the bland side, but banality is actually an advantage in her role. Anyway, so it was terrifying to have his brother shouting, "What, Prince Harry, you hard man who was in the army fighting in Afghanistan." That was terrifying. You think the Taliban trying to kill you might have been a bit scarier, but all right. Well, we all have our own phobias, and yet it goes on. So anyway, he wanted to carry on supporting the Queen. No, you didn't. You wanted to drag down the royal family. You never stopped sniping. You never stopped demeaning the institution that she was in. You never stopped saying really unhelpful and toxic things in the media. My God. Anyway, you can't be half in, half out. And actually, they do have the best of both worlds. They still call themselves Prince and whatever, Duchess, and trading on that shamelessly. If this institution is so despicable, several times you could have rejected the titles years ago and renounce any claim to the throne. And I've so often pointed this out. There's a danger that Harry could yet be king. What will Prince Harry be like as king? Remember King Henry the Ninth? I know Jacobite claimed that title once. He'd be, I suppose, a real woke warrior. He wouldn't shut up. He would say things which were outrageous in their own constitutionality. He would weigh in on partisan issues, and so on. Anyway, there was a statement that issued about 3 years ago saying that Harry said, "No, it's not true that my elder brother bullied me out of the royal family." But now he appears to be contradicting this. He said it was a lie to protect his brother. Wow. There was no other option at this point. I said we need to get out of there. Well, there was another option. You could have stayed, actually. You could have put up with it. They all get negative publicity, and that was often by your unethical and hypocritical behaviour. So he says Meghan had not asked to leave, and he drove the decision was misogyny at its best. Misogyny? I don't see how they're against her as a woman. There are other women in the British royal family. Has he heard of the Queen? What was anti-female about that? I mean, this just really is ridiculous, because they refuse to take personal responsibility for their behaviour. They refuse to face up the fact that actions have repercussions, and all has to be racism and misogyny, and they just won't accept personal liability for what they've done. So these are very personal things they've said. They've been very cruel and hurtful about all sorts of members of their royal family. They're just traitorous. These two are vile. I mean, wow, they're just pure poison. So the royal slanging match continues, but it's completely one-sided. Some of this mud is going to stick, and some people in the United States will be lapping it up, and poor Meghan, and she's a victim. And he's actually dragging Britain's name through the mire. He's really trashed his family's reputation. And you got to say about Meghan Markle, she's got previous. She wrecked the family she was born into, and that marriage that she entered into in her 30s, but ended after 2 years for no particular reason, no infidelity or anything like that. So it goes on saying that she was almost driven to suicide by this, or that their security was going to be withdrawn. Is that true? Would it look good for the royal family if Meghan Markle had killed herself or had been assassinated? But really, honestly, how high is the threat of assassination, right? No member of the royal family was assassinated in the 21st century, or the 20th century, or the 19th century, or the 18th century, or the 17th century, or the 16th century, or the 5th, and it goes on, all right? So there have been numerous attempts, but they haven't actually succeeded. Now, you go back to, say, in the Wars of the Roses, some people were killed in battle. Well, Charles I was overthrown, put on trial, and beheaded, but that's not an assassination. Now, the Princess in the Tower, is that an assassination? Arguably. In 1483, but really you had to go back a very, very long time to extraordinarily different circumstances. So I really don't think there was a significant chance. Yeah, all members of the royal family do face some terrorist threat. I don't think it was particularly high for her, and I said it didn't want it to come to physical harm, and she was harm of herself. So she's really melodramatic. And if she was going to top herself because someone said boo to her in the media, it shows how mentally unstable she is and totally unfit for this leadership position. And apparently she's got presidential ambitions. So these two, they really are just nauseating. They are the lowest of the low, and there's yet more to come in this gruesome installment. It's just sickening what they will say for filthy lucre, how they're trying to cash in on betraying their own family, if any of it's true. Okay, and occasionally there was some racist nonsense on the internet, and of course that's despicable. But really, of all the great majority of the criticism of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry was not racially based. Right, anyway, so thank you so much for watching my channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon and donate on PayPal. Goodbye.